Let's get this turkey basted. That's bad. That's horrible. Thrifting for a bathroom remodel. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well as helping out your appraiser when it comes to buying or refinancing, and Cupertino House of the Week, Willow Glen House of the Week, Luxury House of the Week, and the 12 Bay Area Sales Report. Let's get moving here. I'll move it over here so it's nicer for you to see. Helping out the appraiser. Now, an appraiser is supposed to be a third party, an unbiased professional opinion of the value of your home, whether it's a condominium, a mobile home, a single family home, or even commercial property. An appraiser comes in and tells the bank what they believe the value of that house or that property is worth. That's all they do. I talk to Ryan Lundquist quite often. He's an appraiser up in Sacramento, and he's been doing it for a long time, and he knows his position, he knows his job. But also, if you come to the appraiser and say, hey, I need you to make it worth this much or this little or what have you, you know, you're kind of influencing them. So you got to be careful about what you say to an appraiser, because he's not supposed to be influenced any which way whatsoever. Doesn't mean you can't give them comps and say, this is why I think my house is worth this much, or these are the improvements that I've done over time. I've owned this house for 20 years. I've done this, and this, and here are the improvements, and I used a contractor, I didn't, so that they can get an absolute value, because they will have questions about that. They will want to know about that kind of stuff to justify the value that they're presenting to the bank. So what are some things you can do? Well, whenever it is, if you're buying or appraising or what have you, you need to be able to justify why the house is being sold or being refinanced at that value. So the lender can't have any influence on it, but you can, since it's your house. But you can't give them like $100 and say, hey, bump it up a bit. That's illegal. He can go to jail for that, and he can lose his license, and he could probably go to jail. But there's a set of comps that I can give you. So if you're doing a refinance, there's no reason for you not to look at what values are out there and what recent comps are, and show that to the lender. But also, if you're doing any kind of room like improvement, like a new kitchen, new roof, new windows, all that stuff, and you want to refinance and add that value to your house, you absolutely should do that, right? So there's other things you can do to make it look nice, right? Like get the car off the grass, clean up the yard, get rid of all the cobwebs. Try not to park 50 cars in your driveway. Simple things like that. Make your house look good. They're going to come in and have a first impression just like a buyer would, right? So make sure when you do it, make sure you get your house ready to sell. Now, dirty dishes in the sink, I don't think they care, but it could help, right? Toothpaste all over the counter floor, i.e. my daughter's bathroom. It's pretty gross right now. If you're having guests, you would clean up your house. If you're having a party, you would clean up your house. If you have an appraiser over, make sure that it looks presentable. I went through a house this weekend. It's been on market 70-something days. And, you can see that they were repairing cracks in the walls, but they hadn't actually painted it. Well, why wasn't that done before? The carpet was old and ratted and torn and stained and run down. Why wouldn't you sell it or change that out before you put it on market? I mean, I get it as is, but then you're losing thousands of dollars of value versus a couple $100. So, think about it. Curb appeal, make sure it's nice and clean. And by the way, be there. You're allowed to be there when you leave. Make sure you take your pets and animals, right? But as he comes into the house, hand him your comps. By the way, you can always call me for that. Hand him the list of improvements you've done over the time and get out of the way. say thank you. I'll come back or I'll walk back here in about 20, 30 minutes. And you'll say, oh, it'll only take me 10, right? That's all it takes. So just remember that. Okay, next thing. 5 steps for an impactful kitchen makeover. And when I first breezed over this article, it made it sound like he was thrifting to remodel his. And, you can get away with that in certain areas. I get it, right? I mean, you can go to the clearance place, the clearance center at Home Depot and pick up a cabinet. But look, we love the concrete look as well. That was achieved for just $200 by pouring level quick concrete right over tile counters. Don't do that. Right? Yeah, just don't do that. I mean, tear off the old stuff, put some granite counters. It's going to cost you about $200 and it'll look just as nice, if not better than dusty concrete. Just, be careful what you do out there. I don't think I'd ever do that. Anyway, cabinets. Yeah, paint your cabinets. Paint them. I was just looking at my kitchen cabinets, and they're 5 or 6 years old already, and they're showing sign of wear and tear, and children, glomming on them and chipping the paint. It needs a once-over, right? Wood is a little dated unless it's set up the specific way, right? So if it looks like you made it in 1990 or the early 2000s, maybe it's time to paint. If your house is original in 1970s, maybe it's time to paint the cabinets, right? Lighting, get rid of this fluorescent. Just get rid of them. Nobody likes the fluorescent. They're old. They're actually more expensive now. Go to LED, get some can lighting, make it look nice. Make it look representable. And here's you can get the can lighting, but you can also get the LED puck lights, and they're like $12-15 a piece. They're not super expensive. The old ones used to cost a couple $100 because you had to buy the can and then the protector and then the big thing. It was a big production. And then you can get retrofit ones, and that was still a big production. It was a pain in the ass. I just retrofitted my entire house with LEDs just because it was brighter. It's much brighter, and it looks new and modern. So something to think about. Get rid of the old hardware, put in some new hardware, or refinish your hardware. Yes, you can paint it, you can spray paint it, make it look nice and new, right? And if your floor is looking old and dated, or it's linoleum, or you have shag carpets in there, get rid of that. Put some tile in there. Just do tile, right? Don't try to match the wood floor just put tile. It's not expensive. It can be expensive, but just, redo it. Same thing with shower, same thing with your toilet. Your toilet is old and grimy. Just get rid of it and put a new one in. I know it's expensive, especially in these days, it's super expensive, but it's worth every penny because you'll get to enjoy it a little bit more. Enough said. This part of this episode is brought to you by the Home Inspection Checklist. If you're thinking about doing a honey-do list, selling your house, or just getting things done around your house, download this Home Inspection Checklist. These are the things that home inspectors will look for when they go to inspect your house. Yep. Look for rat poop. Look for air conditioning. Make sure your air conditioning works. Make sure your heating works. Make sure your dishwasher, make sure your plugs work. Make sure there's no cracks. Right? Get all that done. And if you do sell your house and you do those improvements, make sure you disclose it. I would rather scare away a crappy buyer and find the right buyer and wait a little bit longer than not disclose the improvements you did, just to protect yourself. Okay, Cupertino House of the Week. Barnhart Ave, not my listing. This is built in 2016. Look at this thing. It's huge. It's 2,900 square feet. It's only $4.2 million. Built in five bedrooms, 4.5 baths, 2,900 square feet, built in 2016. And it is right there, right off of Lawrence Expressway and near Mitty, Archbishop Mitty. Look at that. That's a pretty house. I love that granite. So I like granite. I know people are going towards the faux plastic quartz stuff. A good granite is going to last a lifetime. You're not going to have any problems. You can put hot stuff on it. That's quartz. That's either quartz or soapstone. Yeah, that's ugly. That's Funkalula. So there you go. Cupertino House of the Week. This is Willow Glen House of the Week. And the reason why I picked it is because it's walking distance to Lincoln Ave. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built in 1936. But I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised at how updated this house is. Because look, you can tell that this was the original house and it became the Winchester Mystery House of Britton Ave. So yeah, nice. Not a big fan of the gray tile black backsplash. And they put in that gray flooring. That looks like it's LP, the vinyl. Guys, don't do the vinyl. Not when you're selling your house. That's a little busy looking. Yeah, I think this was fixed. It's flipped. Yeah, this was definitely flipped. Okay, and then let's see. Home buyer's checklist. If you're looking at multiple houses, I showed houses this weekend, and my buyers were using this this checklist because it was allowing them to go through a few different houses and remember what they liked, what they didn't like, what needed work, that kind of thing. And that's what's great about this. So download that. The link is down below. What is this one? Oh, Luxury House of the Week, Mount Eaton Road. And yeah, it's a little bit up there. It's a little bit of a drive, but I used to drive this road when I was a kid. I used to have a little Honda Accord and just drive that road all the time. Fun times, good memories. But this nice little castle really shows the purveyance of, look at that. That looks like a hotel. Wow, this is beautiful. Look at that room. Wow. Look at that office. I would love to be in that office. I just don't have $20 million. So there you go. Okay. So real quick, I know we're getting on 15 minutes here. 12 Bay Area sales report. Santa Clara reached over $18 billion in sales volume this last week. Congratulations, Santa Clara County. San Mateo is 10 billion short of that. However, their houses sell for a little bit more, 2.5 million versus Santa Clara's 2 million. What I want to point out is that volume of sales in Alameda and Contra Costa are bumping up. Look, 7,400 and 7,300 homes in contract so far year to date. Santa Clara has 8, but if you look at San Mateo or Solano and Sonoma, they're at 3,000. They're at like half, they're less than half of that. So Alameda and Contra Costa is definitely the place to be. And if you look, San Mateo is showing 133% over list price. San Francisco is still at 10% over list price, and Alameda is popping 22 right now. So Alameda County seems to be popping really hard right now. And is it a good place to buy? Absolutely. You're out of the Silicon Valley heat. You're out of the high cost of living. The average price is 1.5 versus 2.3. So yeah, it's a good place to live. And you get the bay heat sink there. Get the heat sink from the bay. The bay kind of cools down the weather, so you don't need air conditioning as much as you do here in Santa Clara County. Santa Clara County is kind of a necessity, like it is in Morgan Hill and Gilroy. But Alameda, depending on where you are, Hayward for sure, you don't need it. You can get by. There's going to be hot days, but there you go. All right. Here's your 15-minute Monday report. I don't want to do that just yet. That's it for now. I'm Vito with Albatano. We'll see you out there. Thanks for watching.